So we've got a big one to start with. This one might take the longest. This is from Amber. All right. Big puppy question. 12-week-old pit lab puppy. Only 12 weeks old. So this is baby puppy, just for everybody for context, because that's really important to Sparky and I, is the age. She's met other people and puppies. She does fine. But she does not like a roommate particularly, barking when the roommate comes in the room. They've tried treats when she stops barking. They've tried the roommate giving her treats, and she won't take them from her. She runs back over to me. What's the best way to handle this situation? You know what, I'm actually curious. I'm curious to hear what you say first.
Okay.
So I want to hear what you say first.
So we deal with a lot of different personalities. We have owners that are high energy, we have owners that are low energy. Anytime someone comes in the room at high energy, if your puppy is even a little bit nervous, that can kind of set them off. We have trainers that come in. I am a loud person. If I come in the morning and I'm loud, sometimes I'll have a couple of puppies that get startled. And what happens is that leads into a cycle that kind of makes muscle memory of this person, when I hear their voice, it could trigger some of that barkiness. So what I would try to do is with your roommate, anytime they come in the room with the puppy, have them just be very low key, quiet, relaxed, let them come in the room, and don't worry about focusing on the puppy and trying to build that relationship. Ignore the puppy for 1 week. 1 week, and I can almost guarantee you, you will see a difference. Anytime you're around the puppy, try to be lower energy, more calm, more relaxed. I know it may be challenging. I don't know what your roommate's like, but if they're anything like me, I have a loud personality, so it's kind of hard for me to tame that down in certain situations. And once you get past that week, I know I'm kind of going into the weeds a little bit. Once you get past that week, start by just walking in, very calmly, setting a treat on the ground, and walking away. Let that puppy associate that piece of food with that roommate in the easiest possible way. Maybe it takes you 3-4 days of doing this before that puppy actually walks up and takes that treat while you're still in the room, and then you can escalate to kneeling down, looking away, and holding the treat behind you. And if that puppy shows any interest in that treat whatsoever, drop it on the ground, walk away, let them come up to the treat, and build your way up to being able to hold a treat out, look away, take all that pressure off until the puppy's able to take that food out of your hand. You're trying to go low pressure so that puppy feels confidence. And eventually, I mean, I've done this with certain clients' dogs where 2 weeks later, they're running up to me and greeting me when I enter the room, taking food from my hand. You got to build your way up to that. What do you think, Beth? Is that hitting on the nail?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That was really good. I've got a few things to expand on. It's the first time I make notes that I've made notes because this is more behavioral. This isn't just like puppy training and potty issues. We've got like a serious potential situation. I didn't mean to make it sound dramatic, but it is odd. It's a little odd. And so I do want to kind of pinpoint you, Amber. You may know what Sparky's talking about when he says pressure, but just in case everybody else doesn't, pressure, just really specifically, could mean a number of things, but in this context, it means like looking at the puppy, hoping the puppy will love you, trying to get the puppy to take a piece of food, eye contact, even if you're neutral, but you're staring into the eyes of a dog that's a little insecure, that's all pressure. So when Sparky did this, and he's like, put the treat in your hand and kind of look away, if the puppy's kind of coming up to you, and he said, take pressure off, that's what he means, like for everybody just wondering. That's what he means, it's to take all social pressure, that's what we should have said, social pressure off of the puppy to try to get him to warm up. But do not forget what he mentioned, which was 1 week ignoring the puppy. This is to just build a little bit of tolerance for existence. And as far as the barking goes at the roommate, Amber, that'll be up to you to control. Do what you've been doing. No, puppy, come, good, sit, food. I wouldn't reward with food if she's like staring at the roommate. Just let that go. But do try to redirect her back to you and get her focused. And if you can't, you can't. You can try a high value food if you want, but honestly, just stop asking this puppy to like this person for a week, and that could go a long way. And please instruct your roommate, that no touch, no talk, no eye contact. So basically to the roommate, that puppy's not even there. This is something that we come across all the time with dogs of different ages, even with their own owner. And when it comes to nervousness, playing hard to get is the key. So if you want your puppy to like you or like someone else, you have to play hard to get. From the time my little Happy was a puppy, she's 14 now, she never liked pressure being put on her. It made her distrust humans in a really big way. But when people come in and ignore her, she warms up pretty quickly now, and very quickly now. But in the beginning, it would take a while. She just needed to build trust that humans were gonna stop asking to pet her or give her food. And so even though this is an isolated isolated situation, let's try that and go from there. We'd love to hear your feedback next week. The other thing that I want to make sure that I pinpoint, because I think this will be useful for a lot of you out there, is when Sparky said to be calm, that's for the roommate. So roommate, if you're listening, to be calm, that's really important, but don't be tentative. And I know I'm asking a lot of you. I'm asking you to really be really self-aware of what you're exuding. So maybe just the whole idea of just ignore the puppy in the beginning is the best way to go. Act natural, ignore the puppy. But a big thing is not to be tentative. When puppies or dogs see a person be tentative, even though they're just being cautious, a dog, an animal, a predator reads that as the human being unsure of themselves, therefore they are unsure of you. So whatever you do, try to do it with a little calm, assertive,
calm, unconcerned.
Yeah, unconcerned, confident. Yeah. And then the pressure we talked about. Oh yeah, and then finally, if things are going good, say you go through everything Sparky went through in a couple of weeks, and then if things are going good, if you trust your roommate to do this, your roommate really needs to work your puppy without you around. Honestly, if you needed them to bond, you don't have to have them bond. Like, let's just be clear. They don't have to bond, they just have to coexist. But if you need them to bond for some reason or just want to practice, you kind of got to get out of there. And I don't mean your puppy watches you walk out the door and then your roommate tries...
left with the leash.
Left with the leash. That's not what I mean. I mean, say you're crate training your puppy, or your puppy is in another room and you're not home, and you text your roommate to go let the puppy out of the crate, see how it goes, really calm, and ask her to work on something easy with food when she's hungry. Like, just sit and break. Sit and toss a piece of food on the ground. You don't even have to use cum, because cum is actually asking for a lot. So it could just be sit, good food, and then break, drop food on the floor. 3 to 5 minutes every other day for a few weeks. You're just gonna have to play around. But the thing is, it probably needs to be when you're not around. You could try it when you're around, but it may not work. But anyway, keep us posted on that, and we can move on.
Whenever you bring them out of the crate, though, make sure you put on a harness and a leash. It gives more leverage, so if you do need to pick up the puppy, you're not chasing around the house looking like Godzilla chasing down the puppy.
Yes, that's a must. So yes, roommate, the puppy has to be on leash. You don't want something to startle the puppy. They hide behind the couch, and then you have to get them out. That would be horrible.
That would be more traumatizing than what you're currently dealing with.
I'd leave the puppy there till Amber got home.
All right.
Don't traumatize the puppy. We're so great at this.
I know, right?
Really.
Don't traumatize the puppy. All right, number 2. This is from Denise. Hi, I'm a 13-week-old Maltechon. I feel like
Maltechon, because of Bichon, right?
Maltechon. He barks at my husband every evening when we sit down to watch the TV. We say stop and put him out of the room, but it continues every night. Any help you have would be great. Yeah, please.
I'm gonna assume that it's not what we just talked about. If it's what we just talked about with Amber, if there's a nervousness there, then rewatch the beginning of this. But let me ask you this, and I know you probably can't answer, you're probably not live, but does your husband play with your puppy a lot, roughhouse with your puppy? Is that their main relationship? Because I would say that would be why, and the relationship, what your husband represents, has to change. Or is your Maltechon having an issue with male energy? Because that can be common. We see that. And if that's the case, again, you got to revert back to our answer for Amber, and he needs to be working with the puppy regularly, preferably when the puppy's hungry. And yeah, do you have anything else to add to that?
I just think it's a little bit of demanding. And I think that's kind of what you're tagging into.
Relationship.
Which is every time that you sit down, the puppy's like, hey, I want to play. I want your attention. I want something. And if he's not allowed on the couch with you, which it sounds like he maybe isn't, then it's him demanding for you to come off the couch and play with him. So I think a lot of it is just playpen or crating or...
Oh yeah, let's give more practical advice.
Yeah.
So playpen, crating, a place. Are you teaching place? Because your husband could spend 5 minutes before you all sit down at night and do place and break, place and break. Place is targeting a dog bed, a cot, something raised up a little bit. On leash, of course, before everybody settles down. That's an idea too.
And the easiest thing after that, after you're done place, unless they've gotten used to staying on it for like duration time, that's when I just put them in the playpen.
Yeah, because 13 weeks old won't be doing duration.
And Malteshan is probably pretty darn small. I think we're about this big, maybe even smaller. So a small little playpen, and it doesn't necessarily have to even be in front of in front of you guys, in front of the TV, because that basically means that puppy thinks that you're staring at him for the next hour and a half that you watch TV. Put it off to the side of the couch. So you're watching TV, kind of ignoring your puppy a little bit, and they build up this ability to self-soothe and relax in that playpen while you're doing your own thing. Because it's very important that as an adult, as a human versus dog, you have your time separate from the puppy.
Now, if she just whines at you like crazy in the playpen, just do crate, that's fine. I would just be more preventative. Let's not always put the puppy out of the room and crate when they're barking. Let's not do that every night and that's the new cycle. Sometimes let's be preventative, and before the barking starts, have your husband, if he can, work with her for 5-10 minutes and then put her away, and then you guys all settle down. That way it's not, because it can become a habit. A puppy can get in the habit of behaving a way that you don't like, and then you managing it. And then the next day, behaving the way you don't like, and then management. So try to get in front of it whenever you can.
And if you're curious, a couple commands to work on, check out our YouTube feed. We have a lot of different commands you guys can check out. We also have our Instagram. There's a lot of stuff around there that you can find.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh, this is.
Do you want me to do one more? Okay.
You're much better at paraphrasing.
Tracy says 8-year-old. Not, okay, 8-year-old. Sorry, I just have to have a totally different mindset. 8-year-old Puggle King Charles Cavalier. And we'll be getting a Dalmatian puppy in 4 weeks. I remember this one now. Okay, so it is puppy. All right. Oh, a Dalmatian and a King Charles. Okay. So for anyone wondering, King Charles, the older dog is this big, and the new dog is this big. That's tough. Like
It may start at the same size in the beginning, but that's gonna change very quickly.
Yeah. How do I make sure my older dog knows he's still important, doesn't feel neglected when the puppy is there? Any tips and recommendations are appreciated. You're looking at it a little bit the wrong way, but it's a great question, but I'm just going to kind of tweak how you're thinking about it. It's not about your dog, your older dog feeling neglected. It's about him feeling disrespected. So let me kind of lay that out. This is what happens all the time to Sparky and I with clients. Older dog in the home, especially a small breed dog and a large breed dog difference. They might play a little bit, but they might get over it really fast. And what happens is the owners accidentally keep letting the puppy have free reign to just walk all over the current dog in the house. Now, this could be a Labrador that properly corrects your puppy to get them to settle down. I actually just had that situation with a German Shepherd. And it worked for a few weeks, and then very quickly their new puppy got to be about half the size. It was like a Bull Terrier mix. And German Shepherd, big dog, but it didn't matter. The Bull Terrier got fast and very windy by 16 weeks old and knew it was wreaking havoc on the Shepherd. The Shepherd couldn't keep up and his health started declining. He was about the same age, 8-9 years old. And we see this all the time. Sometimes it really can lift your older dog up. It makes them happy, more playful, and then it reaches this point where it's too much and they start feeling disrespected, like no one advocates for them anymore. The puppy runs the house, no one's controlling the puppy. That's what you should be asking yourself is what is your schedule going to be like during the day? Small, controlled interactions between the two dogs, short bouts, and how you know it's too much is you watch the 8-year-old, not the puppy, the 8-year-old. Is the 8-year-old interested, sniffing, maybe a little bit of play if you're lucky. Don't be surprised if you don't get that, but a little bit of play, and then he's done. When your 8-year-old is done and is like, yeah, they go away, and that might be 2 minutes, but that is better than trying to like make it work, because at some point your Dalmatian will get more advanced training, hopefully, more accountability around 6 months to 1 year, and you'll hopefully start to be able to have them have more time together. Now, your King Charles Cavalier might be crazy playful and love to play with your puppy and just be overdrive for just to exhaustion. Super happy. You don't want that either. You do want to set a limit, even if your current dog is over the moon about the new puppy, because you don't want the Dalmatian to just be in overdrive all the time and think they just play with dogs all day long till exhaustion. So
and they will. That's kind of what they default to.
Yeah, we see puppies that do like daycare a lot, and they're just so overstimulated and burnt. And it's really tough to try to teach them to be calm and exist in the world. And so my point is, there's limitations on everything that you do. So have a schedule, have an idea going in, and go from there. I know I kind of ran with that one. Do you have anything to add?
How do we limit the dog? How do we limit the puppy?
Oh, practically.
You can't just separate them.
Yeah,
we gotta have our options. So that comes back to what we talked about earlier, which is like crating, playpen, that structure schedule that if you guys, was it DM, PM?
DM, direct message.
DM us. We will send you a little. We don't know the lingo. We're building up, guys. Stick with us. Trust me, we'll get there. But you DM us. We'll send you guys like a little structure schedule to help you out with that. That usually means crate time, potty, free time, and in that free time, they have windows for playing, training, supervised separation, which is like that playpen time.
Yeah.
They get to watch everything happen. That's a lot of times when your dog is like, or your older dog can say, wow, all right, I can take a breath without always watching over my shoulder. Where's this puppy gonna come and bite my ear?
Yes.
They need to be able to cool off and relax. Think about what your dog does right now. Go look at your dog, your 9-year-old dog, and say, what is he gonna do for the next 8 hours? He needs to be able to maintain that.
Yeah.
So that means 10, 15 minutes of play. If you get that, that's pretty friggin' great. If you get that, we're probably talking like 2 to 3 minutes, and then puppy needs to be somewhere else, either getting trained, walked, played with by you, or needs to be in a playpen watching everything.
And even if it is the reverse, even if your King Charles mix is constantly bothering the puppy, then the puppy grows up thinking that that's how it is with dogs, and they will put their species before anything you have to say. Meaning it's really hard to train a dog that just plays with the other dog in the home a big portion of the day whenever they want, because you're not believable. They'd rather do what they want to do and play with their own species.
The other dog is their leader,
yeah.
and you are not.
Yeah, so
you
that's
have
what.
to make sure you're the leader.
Yeah, that's what we want to prevent for sure. Okay. You got your.
Oh, Tilly, you're back. Welcome,
Yay.
Tilly. All right. 14-week golden doodle. How to get better eye contact focus during training sessions.
Oh, I want to hear what you say, and then I have what I say.
I like luring. Use food. I mean, if you can even use food, some puppies. Oh my god. Some puppies love food. If your puppy loves food, it's a doodle. It probably loves food. Calm, quiet environment. Just use that food and try to like get a sit. Use the food to the nose, bring it to your eyes. Good treat. Do a simple lure to get the eye contact. The more leadership that you have with your puppy, the more respect they have, the more eye contact they're naturally going to give. What do you want to say? You're drilling holes in the side of my head.
Oh, I am. I didn't mean to. This is like behind 5 seconds.
Look at this. We have our time delay on the phone. Go. What do you want?
All I was going to say is that I prefer not to overly nurture focus. I'm not worried about eye contact even from puppies. I like to just organically mark it with a good, and then you reach in training pouch, and then you give food. Now I understand that this is much slower, but I like to organically mark things rather than when it comes to when it comes to focusing on your eyes. I like just the organic way of doing it. I don't like to nurture the food lure to the eyes too much. However, lots of trainers do, and those puppies are great, and it's perfectly fine. It is purely a preference.
You don't have to force it. And I agree with that. You do not have to force eye contact. If you have a puppy that you touch the treat, the nose, by the time you get to your eye, they're already across the room, then don't force it. Build up the drive as they get older. 14 weeks is actually still pretty young. It's a little over 3 months. So as they get older and older, you'll naturally get a little bit more eye contact.
Yeah,
Standing up tall after getting to sit, they're going to look all over the place and finally kind of look up at you. Good treat. That's a great way of getting it. If you want to focus on it, you want to get eye contact sooner, you could just do a name recognition. Dog's name, good, treat. Dog's name, good, treat.
Name recognition is good. And what he's talking about with the lorry, start inside when it's easy, because you're trying to teach it like a command. So if you want to do the lorry, don't do it outside when it's busy. Do it inside when it's easy, just as if you teach sit or place for the first time. That's really the key there. I think everybody probably asks for it because they want it with distractions. But
don't try to get a sit with eye contact when your dog is staring at their dog.
Yeah.
You're just that weirdo that's like...
I'm that weirdo.
I see him every day. It's okay. It's okay.
Not you, but everybody else.
Don't be that. You're not going to get the eye contact. And if you do, it probably took you 5 minutes to get it. And by then, your puppy's just tired. It's not worth it. Just keep going. Get to the house and then work up to it. All right, just call everyone a weirdo. All right, let's go.
What if my puppy Dawdles on the Walk by Lynn's Block used to be a puller? Thank your lucky stars, lady.
Yeah, really. I'd rather get a dawdler than a puller.
You just have to motivate him. Maybe it's the heat. Maybe you live in a place that's getting hot. But you just change your energy up. More food work. Maybe they're bored. More sit down, stay calm. Let's go turns on the walk. But yeah, I would. It can be a pain. I have a dawdler. Like I'll have my dogs up here, and then I have one that I just literally. It's an older dog, but I just tie him to my waist, and he's back there always. Which is nice, but if you really want to motivate him, just find food ways, obedience ways, and change your energy up. Excited, and then bring it back down, and then excited. Do you have anything to say?
No, I got the same situation. I have my shepherd, and she's right next to me, maybe a small step ahead, just kind of like checking things out, pushing the boundary. And we got our little pitty that, she is up front until maybe about 5 minutes into the walk, and she was like, all right, burst is done, and now she's 6 feet behind us, just taking her time on the walk. We take her off the leash, she'll explode with energy, but on the leash, it's just take their time. And I mean, we can motivate, come on, let's go. Maybe we'll get her to run up and catch up, but then 30 seconds later, she's going slow again. Just walk slower with them. It's just the easiest way. I mean, if they stop,
that's different.
That's completely different.
If you slow down and then they slow down, that is a problem, and work on it. Okay, let's get to our questions on here.
We have more?
Yeah, we've got a few.
I was going to string out the time for 3 minutes.
Nope. Tilly says, love your dogs and all your help. Thank you, Tilly. Fragos says, I have a 9-week-old pup, and I'm planning on getting him professionally trained. Is he too young to have it sink in? It's a board and train. Says next week. So if he's 9 weeks old and it's a 10-week-old board and train, that's definitely on the youngest side than that we would say, right? I mean, like the youngest.
This is your department. Okay. If it was one-on-one coming to your house, I would approach it a little bit differently, but that's her department. She does the board and train.
So it depends on what you want out of your board and train. If you want this perfect stay or this off-leash recall, then you're not going to get that. But if you want socialization with people and dogs, proper socialization, also learning how to be calm around people and dogs, at that age they will just start to learn how to understand leash pressure. So you're not going to have this perfect heel, but you are going to hopefully have a puppy that is just starting to understand what leash pressure means, but you will have to continue to teach that. Introduction to sounds, a schedule that works for your puppy, and then the puppy gets to a certain point, hopefully. That's the goal. I don't know where you're going or for how long it is, but let's assume it's a week or 2 weeks. And so the puppy gets to a certain point, and then the biggest job of the trainer is actually not the board and train. The biggest job of the trainer is to pull you in, do a couple of lessons, 1 or 2 lessons, maybe 3 or 4, I don't know, but at least one long one with you, and get you up to speed on what the puppy has learned, what's working for the puppy with the trainer in the board and train, and then give you a schedule and give you something at home to follow to continue to maintain the training. Now here's the downside. to just all training in general. What we say all the time, we've probably said on every live, is that you are training your puppy very diligently the first 2 years you own your puppy, because they change so rapidly. So like when I do puppy board and trains, it's puppy stuff, and then they come back if they want to for a bit more accountability as the puppy matures. And then a lot of times around the 1.5-2 year mark, they go through another level of nonsense, and we have to figure out some stuff there as well. So have a good relationship with your trainer if you end up liking this experience, and it's something to keep in touch with. If, I don't know, it's very different with COVID everywhere, but you're gonna wanna get into some sort of group class down the line if you're newer to this, because you want your puppy to regularly be exposed for the first 2 years of their life to go through all the changes and all that good stuff.
Basic cliff notes of that one is 9-week-old puppy, you're not gonna get a fully trained puppy, and no matter what board and train you get,
yeah, no matter who, yeah.
Older and older, and there's follow-up sessions, whether it's someone coming to your home and working with you or doing follow-ups with the board and train as they get older. So don't expect miracles from a board and train.
Right.
Board and train, I'm saving you from this.
I should specifically answer your question. When you said, is my puppy old enough to maintain stuff? They will maintain what you continue to maintain in the home. And so hopefully your trainer does their due diligence teaching you how to maintain that at home. A schedule, a regimen. You can't learn everything. You just can't. You can't learn everything in 1, 2, 3, or even 5 lessons. But hopefully you'll have enough guidance, and then something like paper to follow, and maybe some video references when you go home to maintain what the puppy has learned. Okay, all right. One more. We can punch this out in 60 seconds. Hi. How do I stop them from barking in my car? So we really like to have age and breed of puppy, but let's say let's just go off of 16 weeks and younger, because that's a puppy. How would we stop a 16-week-old and younger from barking in the car?
I like getting a crate, putting a crate in your back seat, or even in if you have an SUV, like your back trunk area, you can even gulp them in, buckle them in so they're not going to move around. You want to face them away from the window, and then usually towards the inside of the car. I like maybe so there's not really, they don't have the ability to go back and forth and build up stimulation. If they're up on a window, down, up on a window, down, front seat, back seat, it's all stimulation. The more they move, the more energetic they are. The more they're confined to a single area, the quicker they're gonna calm down. You may get frustration barking of being in there, but it's not barking to bark at stimulation, it's barking out of frustration.
Yeah.
Just like the crate at home, eventually they'll find a way to settle and they'll relax. You can cover it with a blanket. What else do you do? She does a lot of crating in the car and stuff.
Yeah, yes, crating in the car for young puppies is good. Also, when you're not crating in the car, you gotta practice when you're not moving. And so practice down, good, sit, good, down, good. And then pull up to a park where there's people walking by, and you can be in the car, or you can get out and have the back door open and be practicing with food and a leash with your puppy, teaching them down as people are walking by. So you have to organically work on this. We do correct barking, but not generally with puppies on the younger side. So
they need to know what they're doing before you can correct them for making a mistake.
Bingo.
They gotta be able to default. You can't just say no, don't do this, because they're like, okay, bark, 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 and they go right back to it. There has to be an understanding of no, don't do this.
Yeah.
Do this instead.
Yep.
Actually, I'm going to tell a little story just because I know Ricky's giving me the cut off. I'm doing it. My girlfriend trained with Bethany 5 years ago with her dog, and her dog is amazing in the car, truly. She gives a down command without even looking. She lays down, and she followed what Bethany did, which is start at a stop, go around the block, get your downs. You practice short drives, and you build your way up.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. Next week, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, same place. You can submit questions beforehand. We hope to see you Wednesday next week at 1.
Awesome, guys. Thank you. Good seeing you.